Hello friends, welcome to ADO.NET tutorial. In this video, we will load data without constraint. That means we will make use of this load customers button and we will load the data. When ADO.NET data table does not have unique or primary key constraints, we can add duplicate rows to the customer's grid. In this example, actually, in this video, we will load customers from pubsdb. I'm not sure whether it is pubs or Northwind. We will see when we go to the example. So at this stage in the sense here we are loading the content from this load customer button click, right? The load customers button click will read the content from the database and places that in the customer, and it will not add any constraint. So that's what here we are saying. At this stage we can add duplicate customers to the data grid and there is no ADO.NET constraints. Since there is no ADO.NET constraint, when user adds, at this stage we can add duplicate customers to the data grid as there is no ADO.NET constraint. When user adds such a duplicate row and attempts to save data, here we haven't implemented save data to the database. That we will learn later in this course, because so far we discussed about retrieving the data. We haven't talked about DML like adding the data, updating or deleting it. Those stuff we will learn later. So if you assume when user adds such a duplicate row, because ADO.NET is allowing it, right, and attempt to save the data, DB will throw constraint violation from the backend. Say for example, we know that ID column is unique, right? And if you add a duplicate row with same IDs, here ADO.NET will allow it. So in the data grid, it will allow adding the duplicate rows. And when user clicks the submit data, let's say user is making modification, they are submitting the data, the SQL server will throw the error, right? So that's what here we are talking about. So this will waste the time of the data editing user. Let's assume that user added the data through these grids, right, or through these controls. Let's say that they added 4 or 5 data. That may take some time, right? Let's state that it took almost 2 minutes. Then they are saving the data to the database, and the database will throw constraint violation when they entered any duplicate data. Then user should go ahead and check all their previously entered data and they should rectify the error. So this will waste the time of the data editing user when we don't have any constraints on the ADO.NET side itself. So it's good practice to mimic the DB constraints in the ADO.NET objects. So the backend database table is having the constraint, and we should have the similar constraints mimicked inside the ADO.NET objects itself. So this will help the user to detect the constraint violation before hitting the database. So let's state that user is providing a duplicate key and they are clicking the add customer button. So if any error is thrown during this time itself, it will be useful. So they will go ahead and make the correction. Now let's go ahead and load the data from the database table. Okay, here we have an example, ADO005 constraints example, and we have the form designed as shown in our previous video. And let's look at some of the properties. So this is the data grid view, and we named it as DGV customers, and it's a label. Then we have buttons CMD load, CMD unique, CMD primary key, and CMD clear. And this is one more data grid view, and we named it as DGV cust table. Then we have text box fields, txt id, txt name, txt country, and txt phone. The button name here is CMD add customer, CMD add to table. Next we have one more button, and we name it as btn1, but here we can name it as CMD fkey constraint, and we will learn about fkey constraint in the next sub-series. Alright, we have all are ready, and this is actually CMD merge. Now let's implement the load customer implementation. Okay, since we are working with SQL database, we have to include the namespace system.data.sql client. Next, in our form class, we will declare a variable and the variable name is ds customer dataset ds customer equal to null. So here we just declared a dataset. Okay, after this we are writing a function here, right? Private void prepare ds. Ds means dataset. We are checking if ds customer is null, we will create a new dataset, and if it already exists, then we clear the dataset and reset it. We will be using this function when we are implementing the other click events. So the ultimate goal is when dataset is there, we will clear it. Next, we already have the load, right? Here in this load, if you see, this is the query we are forming. Select customer ID, contact name, country, phone from customers, where country in, we are picking a specific country from the table. So the database is Northwind, not pubs. In one of our slide we told we are loading data from pubs, right? It is Northwind. Select. So this is the query we are executing it, right? And if you see, there are multiple customers here from different countries. There are 91 records. That's why we are picking some sample customers from this table. And here we have 18 customers who belongs to France, Spain, and Austria. So here we are creating the SQL data adapter, and to this SQL data adapter we are passing the connection string Northwind, right? And first parameter is strsql, which we already formed. So by this time you are aware of how to create a SQL adapter and how to create this connection string as part of application settings. We already talked about this multiple times in our previous videos. So next we make call to prepare DS. So whenever you click load, if the DS customer is already loaded, it will clear and reset it and reloads the data again. That's what this prepare DS do, right? If you click for the first time, DS customer will be null, so the data set will be created on the heap. Otherwise, if it was already there, we just clear the content from the data set and we will reset the data set. So this will allow loading the data multiple times. After that, since the SQL adapter fills our data set, we access the table, because here we have only one select query, right? The DS customer will be filled and it will be having only one data table, and we access that through tables collection, DS customer tables collection, and we set the table name property as customer. Otherwise, it will have a default name of table 0. Alright, now let's go to next piece of. Here, if you see, we are taking this data table, DS customer tables of 0, which is nothing but data table collection. Since we use the indexing here, it will return a data table, and we are assigning that to our DGV customer. So this is the DGV customer grid, and we are assigning the data source property from the data set customer, which was filled by the data adapter. After that, we access individual columns from our DGV customer grid, and we set suitable width. The first one is ID, so 100 pixel is enough. The second one is contact names, so we are increasing the width of it. Finally, we are disposing the adapter here, which we used to fill the data set, right? Now let us test it. So it loaded the customer, and you can see the grid size is adjusted automatically. I mean the columns. You can load multiple times. Alright. Now we will add right here. If you see, we are trying to add a customer, but we haven't implemented add customer, right? Now we will go ahead and try that. So this is our add customer. So here inside the add customer, click from our dataset customer that is declared as a member, right? And we know that we already loaded that. We are taking the table customers, we already named it. So DS customers of table collection of give me the table customer. So here we are having the data table customer, right? Then data row dot new row equal to dt customer dot new row. This will create a new row. After that, we are populating the new row with the column names: customer ID, contact name, country, phone, right? Customer ID, contact name, country, phone. That's the name we retrieved from the database. So we can access the columns using the same names. This is the data table, right? So new row, customer ID equal to, from our text box, we are populating the column names, right? After doing everything, here we are making use of try catch dt customer dot rows dot add new row, right? So at present our data table, right? Here you are filling the content, right? At present our data table is not having any front-end specific, that means ADO.NET specific constraints. But later we will add the constraints to the data table, customers data table. So that's why when we are adding the row, we are sandwiching that between the try and try block. Then we have a catch here to catch the exception. So when we are adding the row, we are expecting the runtime error. That's why here we are making the catch block. All right, now let's go ahead and run it. Right, here I'm choosing add to customer, and you can see the content is added to the dataset. We know that the dataset contains a data table, and the data table is called customers. And here in the add customer, we are retrieving the data table from the dataset. We are creating the new row, then we are adding that to the rows collection. So that's how here we added KAPTD Mary Paul. Now let me pick Paris. If you see here, we are trying to add one more customer, and ID we are giving it as Paris. Here also we have a customer with the ID Paris. Now let me add it, and you can see ADO.NET is allowing, right? So now we have a duplicate rows here. At a later stage, when you keep a save button here or submit button here, when you hit the save, the data will go to the database, and during that time you will get the runtime error, right? So let's state that the user is adding here some 15 rows of data. They are clicking the submit button, and the backend will throw the constraint violation. Now they have to go ahead and check what are all the data they added, I mean the end user, then they have to rectify it. It's a time consuming process, right? So that's why when they are clicking the add, during that time itself, we want to throw an error. So that will be useful when we add constraints at ADO.NET side. All right. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.